The story of Nala, the orphan girl who became a leader. Once upon a time, in a small village called Ziwa, nestled between rolling hills and wide savannas, there lived a young girl named Nala. Ziwa was a peaceful village, known for its lush farmlands, clear streams, and warm-hearted people. But beyond the hills, the village's future lay in danger. There was a land dispute brewing between Ziwa and a neighboring village called Mbula. The land in question was rich, with fertile soil and a river that provided water for crops. Whoever controlled this land would ensure their people's prosperity for generations to come. Nala, though born in Ziwa, had never known peace or prosperity in her own life. Her parents had died when she was just a baby, victims of a sickness that swept through the village many years ago. After their passing, she was taken to an orphanage run by a kind but strict old woman named Mama Juma. Life in the orphanage was hard. The children worked from dawn to dusk, tending the small garden, fetching water, and helping with the chores. They were fed little, and the warmth of a family was something they only heard about in bedtime stories. But Nala had something special inside her. Despite her difficult upbringing, she had a spirit that refused to break. While other children would cry in their beds at night, Nala would stare up at the stars and dream of a better future. She knew deep in her heart that she was destined for something greater, even though she didn't know what it was. When Nala turned 16, Mama Juma decided it was time for her to leave the orphanage. "You are strong now, Nala. Go out into the village and make a life for yourself," Mama Juma said, handing her a small bundle of clothes and some food. Nala was sad to leave the only home she had ever known, but she was also filled with excitement about the possibilities that lay ahead. She settled in the heart of the village and began to work as a farmhand. Day after day, she tilled the land and planted crops, always remembering the strength her parents had given her, even though she had no memory of them. As time passed, Nala became known in Ziwa for her work ethic and kindness. She helped the elderly with their farms and cared for the village's children as if they were her own. Despite her hard life, she remained hopeful and full of life. But Ziwa's troubles were far from over. The neighboring village of Mbula had become more aggressive in their claims over the disputed land. Their leader, Chief Kato, was a proud and stubborn man. He had long claimed that the fertile land between the two villages rightfully belonged to Mbula. The people of Ziwa, led by their elder, Chief Badu, tried to resolve the matter peacefully, but Kato refused to listen. The tension between the two villages grew until one day a terrible event occurred. One morning, as the people of Ziwa went to tend their fields, they found that their crops had been destroyed. Fires had swept through the farmlands, and the river that flowed between Ziwa and Mbula had been blocked by stones and logs, cutting off the village's water supply. The people were in despair. Without water, their crops would die, and without crops, they would starve. Chief Badu called a meeting of the village elders to discuss what should be done. "We cannot survive without that land," he said, his voice heavy with worry. "But we are a peaceful people. We have never fought a war before. How can we face Mbula in battle?" The village was silent. No one knew what to say. Fighting was not in their nature. They were farmers and herders, not warriors. But Nala, who had been listening from the back of the gathering, felt something stir inside her. She knew that the time had come for her to act. She stood up, her heart pounding in her chest, and spoke. "Chief Badu, elders, people of Ziwa," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. "I may be young, and I may not know much about war, but I know this. If we do not fight for our land, we will lose everything. We cannot sit back and watch our village be destroyed. We must defend ourselves." The elders looked at her in surprise. "What do you suggest we do, Nala?" Chief Badu asked. Nala took a deep breath. "We must prepare for battle, but we will not fight like Imbula. We will use our knowledge of the land, our unity, and our intelligence to win this war. We may not have warriors, but we have something far more powerful: our hearts and our determination." Chief Badu nodded thoughtfully. "And who will lead us into this battle?" he asked. Nala stood tall, her eyes blazing with determination. "I will." The village was shocked. An orphan girl, a farmhand, leading them into battle. But there was something in Nala's voice, something in her eyes, that made them believe. They knew that she had the strength of a leader, even if she had never been one before. Over the next few weeks, Nala worked tirelessly to prepare the village for the coming conflict. She gathered the young men and women of Ziwa and trained them in the ways of combat, using sticks and stones as weapons. She taught them how to move quietly through the fields, how to set traps, and how to use the land to their advantage. Nala knew that they could not win through sheer strength, but through strategy and cunning, they had a chance. As the days passed, Nala grew into her role as a leader. The people of Ziwa followed her without question, inspired by her courage and determination. She had gone from being an orphan with no family to the leader of an entire village, and she knew that she could not let them down. Finally, the day of the battle arrived. Mbula's warriors marched towards Ziwa, confident in their victory. They were well armed and experienced in combat, while Ziwa's villagers were armed with little more than homemade weapons and their belief in Nala. But as the battle began, it became clear that Nala's strategy was working. She had set traps throughout the fields, causing Mbula's warriors to stumble and fall. Her people moved swiftly and silently through the tall grass, striking quickly and then disappearing before the enemy could retaliate. The battle raged on for hours, but Ziwa's villagers fought with a strength and determination that surprised even themselves. Nala was everywhere at once, leading her people, fighting alongside them, and inspiring them with her bravery. As the sun began to set, it became clear that Ziwa was winning. Finally, Chief Kato, realizing that his warriors were defeated, called for a retreat. The people of Ziwa cheered as they watched Mbula's army flee back to their village. They had won the battle, and their land was safe. As the people of Ziwa gathered around Nala, cheering her name, she felt a deep sense of pride and gratitude. She had led her people to victory, not just with strength, but with heart and intelligence. She had proven that even an orphan girl from an unknown family could become a leader. From that day on, Nala was no longer just a farmhand or an orphan. She was the hero of Ziwa, the girl who had saved her village and won the respect of her people. And as the years passed, Nala continued to lead Ziwa, not with fear or force, but with kindness, wisdom, and a deep love for her people. In the end, it was not the strength of arms that won the battle, but the strength of spirit, and Nala's spirit was the strongest of all. The land dispute was settled once and for all, and peace returned to Ziwa. The village grew and prospered, and Nala's name was remembered for generations as the orphan girl who became a leader, and the leader who became a legend. And so, the story of Nala, the girl who rose from humble beginnings to lead her people to victory, was passed down through the ages, a reminder that true strength comes not from power or wealth, but from the heart.